Before you open your favorite app, before you refresh your feed, before you lose yourself in the endless scroll, I want to ask you one simple question. Who is in control, you or the screen in your hand? Every day, billions of people wake up and let social media decide how they feel, what they think, and even how they see themselves. But what if I told you that the very tool designed to connect us could also be the reason so many people feel more lost, more distracted, and more unfulfilled than ever before? This speech is not about telling you to delete your accounts or to run away from technology. It's about giving you the power to step back and see the truth. Social media is not your identity, and it is not your life. It is only a tool, and if you don't learn to master it, it will master you. Over the next few moments, I'm going to share lessons that can change the way you use these platforms forever. Lessons that will help you protect your time, guard your energy, and find freedom from the comparison that steals your joy. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to hear may shift the way you look at every post, every like, and every scroll. If you've ever felt trapped by the pressure of being online, if you've ever caught yourself measuring your worth against someone else's highlight reel, or if you simply want to live with more focus, purpose, and freedom, then this message is for you. So take a deep breath, silence the noise for just a little while, and open your heart to what's ahead. This could be the moment where you reclaim your power, your peace, and your perspective. Because before you use social media again, you need to hear this first. The first keynote: a social media is a tool, not your identity, carries a deep truth that many people often overlook in today's digital age. Social media was created to connect, communicate, and share ideas, but somewhere along the way, people started to confuse it with their sense of self-worth. When you start believing that the number of likes, followers, or comments defines who you are, you fall into a dangerous trap. Your identity should never be tied to the opinions of strangers or the ever-changing algorithms of a platform. You are not a profile picture, you are not the posts you share, and you are not the reactions you receive. You are far more than that, and your value exists whether or not anyone validates it online. When social media becomes your identity, your mood rises and falls based on notifications. A compliment online can make you feel on top of the world, while criticism or a lack of engagement can leave you questioning your worth. This is why it's important to remember that social media is nothing more than a tool. Just like a hammer can build or destroy, social media can empower or weaken you depending on how you use it. If you use it with discipline, it can help you learn, connect with like-minded people, and expand your opportunities. If you use it without awareness, it can slowly eat away at your confidence and distract you from building a meaningful life. Your true identity comes from your values, your actions, your character, and how you treat others, not from a highlight reel you post online. Social media often shows the best 5% of someone's life while hiding the struggles, failures, and insecurities. If you base your identity on that comparison, you will always feel like you are behind. That's why you must remind yourself every time you open an app, this is just a tool. It's not the measure of my worth. It's not the reflection of my whole reality. When you approach social media with that mindset, you take back control. You stop being a prisoner of validation and start being the master of your presence. The power lies not in how people react to you online, but in how you choose to use the tool in your hands. The second key note: a comparison is the thief of joy, highlights one of the biggest dangers that comes with social media. Every time you scroll, you are exposed to carefully curated versions of people's lives. You see their vacations, their celebrations, their achievements, and their smiles. But what you don't see are the struggles, the sleepless nights, the failures, or the doubts they carry behind the scenes. When you begin to compare your everyday reality with someone else's highlight reel, you create an unfair standard that leaves you feeling inadequate. The truth is, no matter how perfect someone's life looks online, it is never the full picture. And when you measure your value against that illusion, you end up robbing yourself of peace and happiness. Comparison shifts your focus away from your own growth and blinds you from appreciating your blessings. You stop seeing the progress you've made because you're too busy chasing the milestones someone else has posted. You could be achieving something remarkable in your own journey, but the moment you see another person's success online, you may begin to feel like yours is insignificant. This is the silent trap of comparison. It makes you forget that everyone has a unique timeline. Just because someone reached a certain point earlier does not mean you are behind. It only means your journey is different, and that difference is what makes it meaningful. When you allow comparison to dominate your thoughts, it breeds envy, frustration, and self-doubt. Instead of being inspired by others, you feel weighed down by the false belief that you're not enough. Social media magnifies this because it constantly exposes you to the best parts of millions of people's lives in an endless cycle. If you are not careful, it can make you feel like you are always lacking something, whether it's success, beauty, wealth, or happiness. That is why protecting your mind from this trap is so important. Joy comes from gratitude, from recognizing what you have, and from honoring your own path. The moment you choose to focus on your blessings instead of comparing them with others, you reclaim your peace. The competition is not with the world, it is with the person you were yesterday. If you remind yourself of that truth, you will find joy not in someone else's story, but in the progress you are writing for yourself every single day. The third keynote, protect your time and energy, is one of the most crucial lessons to understand in the digital age because social media has the power to quietly consume the most valuable resources you possess. Time and energy are two things you can never get back once they are spent. Yet many people scroll endlessly without realizing that every minute lost to distraction is a minute stolen from building their dreams, nurturing their relationships, or taking care of themselves. Social media platforms are designed to keep you hooked. The notifications, endless feeds, and suggested videos are built to capture your attention for as long as possible. If you are not intentional, you can lose hours of your day without even noticing, leaving you drained, unproductive, and unsatisfied. Protecting your time begins with awareness. Each time you log on, you need to ask yourself why you are there. Are you using it for inspiration, connection, or learning? Or are you just escaping boredom and avoiding responsibilities? When you approach social media without purpose, it becomes a thief of focus. That stolen focus not only costs you precious hours, but also weakens your ability to be present in your real life. Imagine the goals you could achieve, the skills you could develop, or the relationships you could strengthen if even half of the time spent scrolling was redirected towards something meaningful. Protecting your energy is just as important. What you consume online can shape your thoughts, your mood, and even your self-esteem. Negative content, toxic arguments, or constant exposure to bad news can drain your emotional energy and leave you feeling heavy without even realizing why. In the same way, seeking validation through likes or comments can drain you when the response doesn't match your expectations. This constant cycle of emotional highs and lows creates fatigue that slows you down in every other area of your life. The discipline to protect your time and energy means setting boundaries. It might be limiting how long you spend on apps, unfollowing pages that bring negativity, or choosing specific moments in the day to engage rather than opening your phone every time you feel an urge. By treating your time as sacred and your energy as priceless, you begin to use social media as a servant instead of becoming its slave. The more control you have over these two resources, the more freedom you have to build a life that feels full and meaningful beyond the screen. The fourth key note, filter what you feed your mind, speaks to the reality that what you consume on social media directly influences the way you think, feel, and act. Just as your body responds to the quality of the food you eat, your mind responds to the quality of the information and content you allow inside it. If you constantly fill your thoughts with negativity, gossip, anger, or meaningless distractions, you weaken your focus, poison your perspective, and limit your growth. On the other hand, if you are intentional about what you expose yourself to, seeking knowledge, wisdom, inspiration, and truth, your mind becomes sharper, your outlook becomes stronger, and your life begins to align with positivity and purpose. Social media is overflowing with voices competing for your attention, and not all of those voices are good for your mental and emotional well-being. Many people scroll through posts without realizing they are absorbing messages that shape their beliefs and their mood. For instance, following accounts that glorify shallow success or unrealistic lifestyles can leave you feeling empty and unsatisfied with your own life. Similarly, constantly engaging with divisive arguments or toxic content can leave you more stressed and angry than before. Yes, what you feed your mind becomes what you think about daily, and what you think about daily eventually becomes the reality you live in. Filtering what you feed your mind is an act of discipline and self-respect. It requires you to ask whether the content you consume is lifting you up or pulling you down. It challenges you to be selective with who you follow, what you watch, and how much you allow those voices to influence you. Just like you wouldn't keep eating food that makes you sick, you shouldn't keep consuming content that weakens your spirit. By filtering wisely, you protect your peace and make room for growth. It's important to remember that the mind is like soil. Whatever seeds are planted will eventually grow. If you consistently feed yourself with encouragement, wisdom, and uplifting messages, your thoughts will reflect strength, hope, and clarity. But if you constantly absorb negativity, fear, and comparison, your mind will grow weeds that choke out your potential. Every choice you make while scrolling is either helping you build a healthier mindset or destroying it. That's why filtering what you feed your mind is not just about avoiding the bad, but about choosing the good with intention, because the quality of your life always mirrors the quality of your thoughts. The fifth keynote, create more than you consume, emphasizes the power of shifting your role on social media from being a passive observer to an active contributor. Most people spend their time endlessly scrolling, liking, and watching what others are doing, but rarely stop to ask themselves what they are bringing to the table. When you consume too much without creating, you become stuck in a cycle of comparison, distraction, and dependency. You wait for inspiration, validation, or entertainment from others instead of realizing that you hold the ability to inspire, teach, and uplift through your own experiences and voice. Creating more than you consume means choosing to add value to the digital world rather than only taking from it. When you create, you shift your mindset from being reactive to proactive. Instead of letting algorithms dictate what you see and how you feel, you use your talents, ideas, and skills to produce something meaningful. It does not have to be perfect or grand. Even a simple message of encouragement, sharing your lessons, or showcasing your craft can impact someone who needs it. Every creator, big or small, once started by sharing without knowing who would listen. But by creating, they built influence, confidence, and growth within themselves. Creation strengthens your identity, while endless consumption often erodes it. Another important aspect of creating more than you consume is that it allows you to leave a digital footprint that reflects who you truly are. Instead of your online presence being defined by what you follow or what you react to, it becomes defined by what you contribute. The ideas, positivity, or knowledge you put into the world remain long after the scrolling ends, and they can continue to touch lives in ways you may never fully see. Consuming has its place. There is value in learning from others, staying informed, or being entertained. But when consumption outweighs creation, you lose balance. You become a spectator in life rather than a participant. By choosing to create more, you take ownership of your time and energy, and you start building instead of only watching others build. Social media can then become a platform for growth, inspiration, and connection rather than just a source of distraction. The real fulfillment does not come from how much content you consume, but from how much light, wisdom, and creativity you bring to others. Creating more than you consume transforms your digital experience into a purpose-driven one, making your presence online something that matters. The sixth keynote, a real life is greater than digital life, is a reminder that no matter how engaging or entertaining social media can be, it will never replace the richness of genuine human connection and real-world experiences. Too many people become so attached to their digital presence that they forget to live fully in the present moment. They measure happiness by likes, shares, and followers while neglecting the laughter of family, the warmth of friendships, and the beauty of experiences that cannot be captured by a screen. Digital life can only offer glimpses, highlights, and illusions, but real life offers depth, authenticity, and meaning that no filter can replicate. When people spend too much time in the digital world, they often start to confuse virtual approval with genuine fulfillment. A picture of a meal is not the same as savoring it with loved ones, and a post about an adventure is not the same as fully immersing yourself in the journey. Social media makes it easy to show the world what you are doing, but sometimes in the rush to capture and post, you miss out on actually living the experience. Real memories are not built through screens. They are built through presence, attention, and connection in the physical world around you. Real life is greater because it teaches you lessons the digital world cannot. Face-to-face conversations develop empathy, emotional intelligence, and understanding in ways text and emojis never will. Real challenges, whether in your career, relationships, or personal growth, shape your character far more than online debates or digital validation. The sense of achievement that comes from working hard, overcoming struggles, and reaching milestones in reality carries a depth that no number of virtual reactions could ever match. Choosing real life over digital life doesn't mean abandoning social media altogether. It means giving it its proper place. Social media should be a supplement, not a substitute. It should enhance your ability to share and connect, not replace the experiences themselves. When you start prioritizing conversations over comments, adventures over posts, and memories over likes, you begin to see how much more fulfilling life truly is outside the screen. The digital world is fleeting, but real moments stay with you, shape you, and define you. That is why real life will always be greater, because it is where true joy, purpose, and meaning are found, and no amount of virtual attention can ever replace that truth. In the end, the message of this entire speech is simple but powerful. Social media is not your enemy, but it must never become your master. It is a tool, and like any tool, it can either build you up or break you down, depending on how you use it. If you allow it to control your time, steal your joy through comparison, poison your mind with toxic content, or replace real life with illusions, then it will leave you empty. But if you choose to set boundaries, protect your energy, filter what you feed your mind, and most importantly, use it to create, inspire, and connect with purpose, then it becomes a platform that supports your growth instead of standing in the way of it. The truth is, your worth is not defined by followers, your future is not built on likes, and your happiness will never come from scrolling. It comes from who you are becoming, the value you are bringing to the world, and the love and presence you share in real life. Always remember, life outside the screen is richer, deeper, and more meaningful than anything social media can ever show you. So as you step forward, carry this awareness with you. Protect your time, guard your energy, and stay rooted in your values. Let social media serve you, not enslave you. And never forget that the most important connection you will ever make is with yourself and with the people who truly matter. Good luck on your journey. May you rise above distractions, live with purpose, and create a life that shines brighter than any post could ever display. Thank you for giving your time and heart to listen. Now go and live beyond the screen.